topic of external structure of heart. Heart is a muscular organ which is the size as our fist. It also weighs about 7 to 15 pounds. It is the organ which pumps and receives the blood and transports it throughout the body. It has 4 chambers, the 2 atria and the 2 ventricles. These chambers are separated by a septum. The right side of the heart receives the deoxygenated blood and sends it to the lungs, while the left side of the heart receives the oxygenated blood from the lungs and sends it to the rest of the body. The external structure of the heart is surrounded by sulci or crevices or grooves of the heart create the boundaries between the chambers. The coronary sulcus separates the atria from the ventricles. The anterior interventricular sulcus and the posterior interventricular sulcus separate the right and the left ventricles. The heart is also surrounded by a protective sac called the pericardium, which consists of 2 layers, an outer fibrous layer and an inner serous layer. The serous layer has 2 parts, the parietal pericardium and the visceral pericardium. Between these 2 layers is the pericardial cavity, which contains a fluid which prevents the friction of the heart and keeps the heart lubricated. The heart is composed of 3 main layers and 4 cells. The 3 tissues are pericardium, myocardium and endocardium. The 4 cells are cardiomyocytes, fibroblasts, endothelial cells and perivascular cells. Thank you.
Happy greetings. This is Harshavardhini from grade 10A from Acharya Balu Shiksha Mandir, IIT Jitmar campus. Today I am going to explain the internal structure of the heart. Heart chamber. There are 4 heart chambers. One is 2 atria and 2 ventricle. Atria receive the blood and ventricle pumps out the blood. The next one is valve. Valves prevent the black flow of the blood. And septum. Septum is a muscular wall which divides the 4 chambers. It prevents the deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood from mixing. Blood flow. Deoxygenated blood enter the right atrium from the body and pass through the ventricle, right ventricle, and then get pumped to the lungs for oxygenation. Oxygenated blood return to the left atrium and passes through the left ventricle and pumps to the rest of the body. Coronary arteries provide oxygen and nutrition to the blood heart muscles. Heartbeat. The rhythmic contraction and the relaxation of heart is the heartbeat. And the cardiac cycle, one complete heartbeat include both systole and diastole is known as the cardiac cycle. Heart rate is the number of times the heart beats per minute is known as the heart rate. And blood circulation. Heart is the center of the blood circulatory system. Thank you.
Happy greetings. This is Aifariza of grade 10A from Acharya Balu Shiksha Mandir, IIT Jitmar campus. Today I will explain you what is double circulation. Anybody have idea what is double circulation? It is a type of circulatory system in which the blood travels twice via the heart. So there are 2 types, pulmonary circulation, systematic circulation. In pulmonary circulation, the deoxygenated blood is carried, whereas in systematic circulation, oxygenated blood is carried. Now, how the heart works? The oxygenated blood enters the left atrium. So when the left atrium contracts, the blood is flown to the left ventricle. When the left ventricle contracts, the blood is pumped out through aorta to all parts of the body. Once the blood is pumped through aorta to all parts of the body, the deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium. It enters the right atrium through vena cava. Once the right atrium contracts, the blood is flown to the right ventricle. And once the blood is flown to the right ventricle and the right ventricle contracts and the blood is flown to the lungs through pulmonary arteries, where carbon dioxide is released and oxygen is absorbed. And once again, the oxygenated blood enters the left atrium. This process repeats. Since the blood travels twice via in one cycle, it is known as double circulation. Now, let's see the simple pathway of. These are the simple structure how it is. This is the heart as I have earlier explained you. The blood will enter through the pulmonary vein and left atrium, then left ventricle. From there, the blood will get transported to all parts of the body through aorta, and then once again it will enter from vena cava to right atrium, then to right ventricle, and then from the pulmonary artery. Since this is known as double circulation. Now we will see heart of mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles and fishes. So the heart in mammals, they have 4 chambers where the right and left side is separated by septum. So this provides efficient supply of oxygen. Thus oxygenated and deoxygenated blood must not be mixed. Whereas in amphibians and reptiles, they only have 3 chambers where some amount of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood can be allowed. And they don't need their body temperature is same as the environmental. So they don't need to maintain their energy. The heart in fishes, they only have 2 chambers. Oxygenated is by gills. So these is the structure. Thank you.
Hi, happy greetings. This is Rani Darshini of Grade 10A from Acharya Balasiksha Mandir, IIT Jipmar campus. I am here today to take my topic or seminar topic on blood pressure. What is blood pressure? Blood pressure is a force exerted by the blood through its walls. Blood pressure is nearly 40 to 50% of the total population is affected by this blood pressure. So we'll see what is first blood. Blood is a fluid connective tissue which is carried from the arteries to all the parts of the body. There are two types of blood pressure: systolic blood pressure and diastolic blood pressure. When the ventricles are in contraction position, the systolic blood pressure occurs, and in the other side, when the ventriculars are in relaxed position, the diastolic blood pressure occurs. The minimum range of systolic blood pressure is 120 mm of Hg, and from the diastolic blood pressure, the normal range is 80 mm of Hg. Now these both are measured by an instrument called the sphygmomanometer, and these both words, the systole and diastole, is taken from the Greek words. Thank you.
Happy greetings to everyone. I am Gurpati of Grade 10A. Now I am going to ask some questions regarding this topic we thought. Question is, the blood pressure is caused by dash. Options are constrictions of veins, relaxation of arterioles, constrictions of arterioles. Constriction of arterioles. They say dash is the muscular organ which is big as our fist. Options are lungs, heart, both A and B, and none of these. Ashok.
Heart.
Yes, say Undo. Thank you. Thank you.